Okay, so we are live. Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm joined yet again with the co-host, with Reece. We're back again. We are back doing another Urban Legends episode, but before we get into that, a couple of YouTubey things. Hit that like button, subscribe. We're still on the way to 100 subs and possibly more. You would have seen the 3 videos that went out Friday, Saturday, Sunday because it's going out on Wednesday. Hope you like them. If you haven't, go check them out. It's Westbury Nursing Home. Jesus,
I was going to say Westborough's totally different thing, boy.
I'm having a mail lad. Westbury Nursing Home. So yeah, go check them out. Hit that subscribe button. We've got Charlie coming on the podcast very soon. So keep an eye out for that, as well as I have now just featured on Shay, White Butterfly Wing Productions version of his podcast, where he gets YouTubers and other people to come down, talk and stuff like that. So that will be coming out soon. I'll leave his link, him, Charlie, and Charlie's podcast, if you want to find them really quickly. Go onto my channel, go to featured channels, all 3 of them are there. But this week, I'm joined yet again by Reece for another Urban Legends episode. This week, Reece is taking it. Reece, where do you want to start, mate?
Well, yeah, if you remember from the last episode, I was like, okay, right, let's pick 2 states. So I went with Illinois and that was a logical reason because Illinois contains one of the biggest cities in America, in Chicago. And then I just couldn't think of another one. Another state off the top of my head, so just pulled one out my arse and went with Maine, which I don't know why that was the first state that I thought of. So 1, for a logical reason, 2, just pulled out my arse. But Maine actually had quite a few interesting stories, and one that's very interesting. But I'm going to start in Chicago, Illinois. I knew that when I picked Illinois, it was going to be in Chicago because Chicago is massive and has all these crazy things. But yeah, this is a really weird one. So did a bit of research, wrote the notes on my phone in my own words. So hopefully this makes sense. I'm sure it does. I've got an A level in English, so we can only hope. Yeah. So yeah, this urban legend is called Resurrection Mary, which sounds a bit weird, but it's not. Well, yeah, it's sort of resurrection for 2 reasons, but you'll see why. Okay, so the story of a flapper called Mary. So a flapper is sort of like the old version of slapper, really. Flappers were around in America in the 20s and the 30s, and they were women that liked to wear short dresses, God forbid, and partay, which was obviously a bit different back then. But yeah, they were called flappers. I remember learning that in history GCSE actually. But yeah, this particular flapper, this girl, was called Mary. She was 20, and we'll start off with one of the first sightings, if you like. A man called Jerry Palace was on a night out in 1939, and he saw a pretty girl and asked her to dance at the Willowbrook Ballroom. They danced all night and chatted a bit about themselves, and I think they might have even lipsed. My guy. But at the end of the night, he offered her a lift home, and she simply asked to be dropped off at Archer Avenue. However, that didn't really tally with where she said she had lived earlier on in the night, but she was insistent that she wanted to be dropped off there. So he obliged. He was like, cool, fine. I can drop you off there, no problem. And he dropped her right outside Resurrection Cemetery. Oh, what a weird name for a cemetery.
I think I've heard a version of this. Carry on.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you might have. It's obviously, yeah, obviously Chicago's one of the biggest cities in America. This is the biggest urban legend, as voted for by citizens of Illinois, is the biggest um, urban legend in the state of Illinois. So this is quite a biggie. Um, yeah, well, weird name for cemetery, Resurrection Cemetery. But yeah,
It
so he drops.
actually.
Yeah, really weird. Like, surely they shouldn't be resurrecting; they should be at rest. But whatever. Uh, so yeah, so he drops her off. However, when she steps out of the vehicle, she disappeared into thin air. Jerry Palace couldn't believe it. Um, but the identity of Mary is not 100% known. Um, but it may well be someone called Mary Bregovi, who was killed in a hit and run in 1934, which was 5 years before this encounter. And she was buried in the ceremony. I wrote ceremony down. I'm an idiot. She was buried in the cemetery, as well as many other Marys. But she's the one that seems to sort of match up. She died just before her 21st birthday in this hit and run. But a man called Richard Crowe became fascinated with this story and claims to have over 3 dozen reports of sightings from the 1930s to the present day. And a lot of these people that he's talked to are like, seem to be level-headed people that previously had no sort of belief or inclination to believe in the supernatural or the psychic, but here they were saying their stories to this man Richard Crowe, who sort of compiled it all together and did all the research. So yeah, about 3 dozen. So that's nearly 40. From the 1930s to the present day. Um, I think Jerry Palace's one was probably the most prominent one, but yeah, Jerry Palace obviously he was sort of a grown man in the 30s, so he's passed away now. But yeah, other sightings from Palaces were hitchhiker ones. So obviously Jerry Palace met her, was she even real, in the in the ballroom. I was going to say nightclub. It's the 30s in the ballroom. Whereas a lot of other sightings generally were where she would be seen out on the street in a white party dress and sort of illuminating as well. And because she looked friendly and innocent and pretty, she'd always get a lift. However, the same thing would happen every time. They'd get to Resurrection Cemetery on Archer Avenue, and she'd get out and she'd just vanish. And there's been other sightings as well where she's like sort of stepped in front of cars in such a way where she'd step out right in front of a car. It'd be too late to avoid hitting her. You know, drivers like slamming on the brakes, waiting for impact, and then they should hit her, but then they hear no bump and they feel no impact on the car. And obviously they get out of the car to check out what's going on, and just nothing there. Nobody lying in the street, nobody there. And basically, it's a really weird one because a lot of people have stories, but then that no one really 100% knows who she is, who she might have been, and obviously it's hard to get proof for these things when a lot of them would have been a long time ago, where you couldn't just be like, yeah, well, let's have a selfie. So it's really weird. And then obviously with the hit in the car ones, you can't really prove that because the impact's not felt in the car. There's no dent in the car, and there's no woman lying in the street. It was an interesting one to research. I told you Chicago would have a good one. I knew I was
Sick.
clever picking that state.
Because that reminds me, because it's that story, or I've heard that obviously there's going to be others similar, of a woman in a white dress standing in the middle of the road asking to be picked up. She gets picked up, she sits in the car, she'll speak to the person, then all of a sudden she'll just disappear. But it's not always going to a cemetery, sometimes it's going to a house. But that's sick. I like that one. I like that one. That one's cool. That one's cool.
Yeah,
That one.
a hit. Yeah, a classic hitchhiker cemetery
Yeah.
urban legend. And yeah, I watched a video about this on as well, and I saw a comment. And it was like, "Oh yeah, my dad's old school Chicago man," and he goes on about Resurrection Mary all the time. So it's a very famous story for the citizens of Chicago. Um, but yeah, obviously that was more of a whistle stop tour of the story, but I just thought it was rather fascinating. I think the fact that it's such a big one that
Yeah,
literally a guy has like dedicated loads of his time to trying to sort of compile all this testimonies, if you like, and try and make it into a comprehensive, factful story, if you like, because just shows how much of a big urban legend it is.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I suppose I've presented this one to you. You might have heard, you said you've heard, it could be the same one, it could be something very similar, but the fact that you've sort of, some of that sort of rung a bell for you just shows how big it is, because
yeah,
we're not from Chicago, we're from across the pond, we, um, we're from the UK and stuff. So that's, we're not Chicago boys that have grown up hearing this story, so that the fact that some of that has been like, oh yeah, is a big one. But obviously we score these urban legends on scarability and believability, and obviously I scored the ones that you presented me with the last week. So I'm interested to see what you think of what I've come to you with today, big boy.
Well, I'm gonna try and score this one as if I was like the lad in the car that
Mm.
drops off the lad in the car that hits her. And scarability wise, like just disappearing out of nowhere is outrageous. Uh, so I say that and I'm not gonna give it that highest score. Give that I'll give it a 7 out of 10 for scarability because I think there's other stuff that would scare you,
Yeah,
like, but that is quite scary. Like, rather like if you're just about to hit someone and they vanish, or you drop someone off and they vanish into thin air, it's a bit weird, especially going to a cemetery. And it's almost like a really scary shit version of Cinderella. She goes to a ball and then all of a sudden she disappears. uh,
yeah,
believability 6. I think 6 is
yeah,
fair.
yeah. I think I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think in terms of the scarability, I suppose there wasn't really any danger. It wasn't like she was gonna
Yeah,
hurt you, except for maybe the ones where stepping out in front of the car,
yeah,
you
because
know,
you might
you
swerve
get
and hit
hurt.
something or whatever. Like, yeah,
Exactly. So yeah, no, I think
that's
yeah, I totally agree with both your scores actually. Yeah, I think scarability 7 because one, vanishing just out of thin air, that would scare the shit out of you.
going
Two,
to a cemetery.
yeah. Do you want to go to the
That's
cemetery at 3 a.m.? Yeah, good idea. Right. Yeah, I'll drop you there. No problem. Um, and then yeah, believability. Yeah, I agree with that 6 because people just spin into thin air, bit weird one. But then at the same time, there's all these people that have claimed to have
yeah,
seen her. So that's why yeah, I think 6 is a sound score.
yeah. If you had said like, oh, it was a truck driver that might have like hit her or whatever, you can sort of go, okay, they've been on the road a while, they've probably just seen shit because a lot of them, because you always hear like spin-off series that might be coming, like UFO sighting stuff like that, and it's always like a truck driver at 4 in the morning after like 16 hours of driving. I saw a sign in the sky.
It's like, mate, you just needed to go to bed. Yeah.
Yeah, you need
You're
a
probably
nap,
asleep at the
lad.
wheel. Yeah. No, I think the fact it's like a hitchhiker thing, and the girl that it's likely to have been was killed by a car in a hit and run
Yeah,
is
because
quite
that's
an interesting one.
like hitchhiking's a big thing in America as well, like a massive thing in America. Like you don't see it much here in England, if at
Just get
all.
the bus,
But
mate.
like, yeah, you put your phone out like that to someone to pick you up, they'll literally pull over and go, "Get the bus, dickhead," and drive off. And they're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, wait up, get in the car."
Yeah,
But
no.
yeah, that was a good one to start with. That was a
Yeah.
good.
I think
That's
I literally wrote in my notes, I told you Chicago would have a good one because I remember in last episode. I was like, well, I'm going to pick Illinois because Illinois has Chicago. Chicago is massive. There's going to be some crazy ones. But then obviously with this second one, what I found was quite creepy, to be honest. There's
Ooh,
like a
love it.
whole articles on these things. It's like urban legends in Maine. I think that's just how massive America is. I think it won't be
Yeah,
hard to find these crazy stories in any state, even though like Maine, just so random. I don't even know where Maine is in America. Like I think it's like
yeah.
northeast. I
It's like
think.
just somewhere in that big fucked off place.
Yeah, like literally, like I think it's northeast. Like to our American viewers, let me know because I don't have a clue. My my geography's not bad, but Maine, that's just so random. I don't even think it's that big, but I could be wrong again. But anyway, um, I don't even know what cities are in Maine, but this story is called The Legend of Sabattus Well. So I never heard of Sabattus before. It's just a wee town in Maine state. Um, yeah, in Sabattus, Maine, four boys playing in 1990s. It's quite recent as well. Um, they were at a cemetery, of course, because why not?
My
So,
gang.
yeah, not much to do in 1990, clearly. Um, and at the back of this cemetery was a well. Um, and one of the boys was dared to be lowered into the well as the boys found an old tire and a rope. So this boy, you know, didn't want to seem like a wimp to his mates, wanted the clout, was like, yeah, go on then. Um, and so he sat on the tire as his friends lowered him in. So they kept lowering him until he was out of sight. So he'd gone so low down that, it was too dark to see into anymore. However, the three boys that were, over the well, they quickly realised that they felt no like pressure on the rope from below, like no one holding on to it, whatever. So they got a bit scared, quickly pulled the rope back up. They're like, oh my gosh, what if he's falling off the tire, whatever. So they quickly pull the rope back up to make sure their friend's okay. And however, the friend that they knew before he went into the well did not return, and instead, a white haired, feral, old man came up instead. And he couldn't speak coherently, and he was just a bit off his face. And what actually happens next is quite sketchy. I couldn't really nail down the details of what happened next. But the most sort of tangible thing I could find was that, like the caretakers of the cemetery, they kept finding dead animals in and around the cemetery, like dead deer, rabbits, all sorts. And like they hadn't been fully eaten, just a few like guts pulled out and stuff. Saw some pictures, and it was a bit like, well. So at first they thought it might just be wolves. So that does sound like Northern America, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So they thought, oh yeah, it might be wolves, but they weren't sure. So to get to the bottom of it, they set up cameras, and what was captured was a terrifying image of a like completely white, like completely pale, naked humanoid figure with like the scariest eyes. I can't even begin to describe it. When I saw the photo, I was like, I'm glad it's the middle of the day right now. Um, when I was looking at this stuff, because if I did it right before bed, yeah, yeah, if I did it right before bed, nah, no, thank you. But yeah, like this white humanoid figure. So maybe it's this boy, this missing boy. So in response, the well was covered up. It was a disused well anyway. They thought, let's just cover this well up and just put it to bed. And oddly enough, the findings of dead animals ceased. After they did that, they weren't finding any more dead animals. But yeah, it's a weird one because I can believe that, but then the boys never got any names. There's no, like, you may have noticed, there's no names in the story. There's no, like, parents trying to find out what happened to their son, which is a bit sus. So
Yeah. Just where's little Jimmy gone? Oh, he's still down the well. Ah, fuck him.
so yeah, like, that's why I thought it was quite interesting, because you know the whole thing afterwards with the caretakers seems perfectly believable, apart from maybe that picture. But yeah, I'm not too sure about the boys going down. This is what we do on this series. We just ruin these myths and
Ruin 'em.
these legends. But I just think it's a bit sus that, yeah, there was no, like, mention of any names, although there's a date which I found quite strange. But in the state of Maine, even though this little town, is just a bog standard little town nobody really cares about, it is a huge story throughout the whole state of Maine. So
Jesus.
it's a weird one, and it's quite a recent one as well. Like, what,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been one that like, if our people of our parents' ages, they wouldn't have grown up with that, which is weird. It would be
Yeah.
like people our age and a bit older, which is a bit weird. But yeah, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on that one before we score it.
Well, it's like the thing that got me was they drop the boy down into the well. They pull up an old man, and then that's it. You never hear about what happened
Yeah,
to them. And I was like, when you sit there just going, what happened to the? Because they just cover over the well. What, do they not look for the boy? Yeah, it's a weird one. Like, I've never heard of that one, and that's like
it's because I picked
yeah.
such a rogue state.
So I had never heard that one, and it was different, but sick. That was sick. That was genuinely sick. Ooh, how do I rate this? Because that would be scary. Like, if you're one of those kids dropping that into the well, and like your mate not coming up, but some old naked creepy man, like bit like
Yeah.
Mole Man from The Simpsons. Um,
It's a sticky one still.
yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it, I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna say 2 or 3. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
3.
I'm absolutely with you on that. It was almost like so not believable. I nearly, like, sacked it off and went for a different one, but then I was like, oh no, but it's such a if I didn't see the thing about the dead animals and stuff, I'd been
Yeah.
like, you know, someone could have just pulled this out of their arse, and I might, I might fall in someone's trap. But yeah, the sort of dead animals thing made me think, oh, you never know. But yeah, no, yeah,
All right.
yeah, I'm absolutely with you on the believability side of things. I can't wait till we find one where we can score it high, but
Oh,
it's going to take a special one.
10 out of 10, because not even Annabelle hit 10 out of 10. Or what was the other one I did?
Um, Cripsy,
Did
Cripsy,
Cropsy, who
Cropsy,
sounds like.
Jesus. Yeah, good.
But yeah, like, I'm gonna score that a 4 for scareability and a 3 for
Yeah.
believe. Just,
Oh,
I'm just going to.
shat on my thing, all my hard work. No, I'm joking. I
No,
nah,
that's. Well, some of these urban legends like will be told, won't they? Because Americans will just believe anything. Queen Elizabeth 304. You're lying.
Oh, yeah, man. I think that's that's what happens when I pick such a rogue state. I'm not sure. I'm going to quickly look it up now. What is the state? Because Americans don't study geography at school. All they do is, like, state capitals. What is the
Yeah.
state capital of Maine? Because I literally don't have a clue. Maine? What's the state capital of Maine? Here we go. Augusta. I've actually heard of that, to be fair.
Oh yeah, Augusta, fucking the golf, isn't it? PJ Tour.
Bruv. Yeah, of course. So, okay, so Maine does have its uses in the world.
Yeah,
Um,
just Augusta, and
but
that's it.
Augusta, what random. Wait, Maine. Hold on, I'm looking for it on a map now. Yeah, it's literally right at the top. Yeah, northeast, literally right at the top of America. Like the American mainland. Obviously, because obviously Alaska's more north, but um, yeah, bruv. Like, yeah, I don't know why I picked Maine, but does
Wait,
mean
it was a good one. It was decent. It
does 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 mean we've got it out of the way. We've got a rogue one out of the way.
just one out the way. I've got to pick two for not next week, the following week. We'll record it next week though, but still,
You know.
I'm into everything. I'm gonna go with Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
Obviously,
Yeah.
massive Eminem fan from Detroit. I love Detroit.
Put your hands up for Detroit.
Detroit.
I love this city. Yeah.
And you know what? Fuck it. I'll go for Alaska.
Alaska, nice.
Michigan and Alaska. That will be my two.
I
Uh,
like.
so yeah, they could be good actually.
I feel like they've both got potential. Like you say, like the obviously I picked Illinois because it had Chicago, and I was thinking big city that's gonna have some crazy stories. And then obviously you've sort of done a similar thing here. We've picked Michigan because it's got Detroit. Detroit's absolutely massive. That will surely have some great stories. And then Alaska, you know, not on the mainland. It's just a little
Yeah, a little
snowy
bit.
island that surely just because of like the sort of what it's like, the snowiness of the island, that's surely going to have some mad stories as well. So I look forward to hearing those next week and then shitting on them.
Yeah, no, my luck, it's going to be like Bigfoot or like the abominable snowman, and I'll be there like, well, I fucked it. Um, so yeah, those are my two, Michigan and Alaska. Um, follow us on Instagram at the Complicated Channel because we are actually going to do a rating system and a tier list. So I've got to go back through and find out the fucking rating list, into the tier list. But you'll see everything on there for when we're recording, when I'm live on Twitch, when there's videos coming out, and whatever else, and polls and stuff like that to do with the channel. And also, I've got a question for you, Reece. Reece boy.
Oh yeah.
When you're back in MK, obviously, when COVID allows, do you want to do an urban legends video in an abandoned building or a haunted place?
Yeah, bro. You know, I haven't been on any of these abandoned places. Maybe because I'm too scared. But
We'll
yeah,
go in the day. We'll go in the day.
we'll go in the
So
day. Oh, that's nice of you. Right.
I
Yeah,
think
no problem. I'll be well up for that.
they're always eerie, but if you're telling like urban legends or ghost stories in an abandoned building, I think it adds to the creepiness. So we'll go in the day. Um, but yeah, remember guys, hit that subscribe button. We're getting so close to 100 subs. Hit that like button. Comment below what you thought. Obviously, we had a few people that liked last week's the first one, like trying that, and then there was one lad who couldn't watch it because he was too scared. But that's fine. That's fine.
That's right.
We
Well, these didn't
video.
score high on the scarability
Yeah,
scale, but
these
that's probably not a thing to put in the title because that'll.
like,
That's
because
not a clickbait title.
I'm using that clickbaity title with that like scary guy from your last story in Maine.
I'll try and
uh,
find the picture again and send it to you to put on the thumbnail.
just
When we're discussing all these like logistical things while still recording, I love it. I love us.
yeah.
Oh my god, what we like.
Oh my god. Be sure to keep an eye out for more videos coming. We've got more podcasts. We've got it with people. We've emailed a few people as well, so you might get some more guests. You're going to get conspiracy ones, ghost stories, and anything else like that, and obviously other videos. So please like, subscribe, and peace.